Welcome, vindictive Spaniards, to Geek Salad's retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are discussing the 1987 Rob Reiner romantic comedy classic, The Princess Bride.
Yeah, it's weird. If you look on the Wikipedia entry, it says it's a romantic comedy, fantasy, adventure, action movie.
It pretty much has every aspect of movies. Even, I mean, while I would never classify this in any way, shape, or form as being a horror movie, it definitely has some scarier elements to it as well.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so there's tons of things to love about this movie, and the beauty is that it's the kind of movie where, because it doesn't fit so neatly into one genre, it's a very good movie to introduce to anybody of any walk of life.
And unfortunately, that also kind of did it detriment because the studio had no idea how to market it. Have you seen that first poster?
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. And the tagline is, "It's as real as the feelings you feel." I mean, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly. Now, the thing with the next series of movies that we're doing, we're going to be discussing beloved movies that were initially box office failures. And this is one of those movies that is, in fact, a box office failure. Like Mike mentioned, they didn't know how to market this movie. Billy Crystal was, I think at the time, the biggest star in this movie, relegated to a very small, almost cameo-like role.
Yeah.
I mean, he steals the movie with the scenes that he's in, but he was the biggest part of this movie. In fact, I remember the only ad I saw for this movie prior to it coming out was the scene where Inigo was banging on Miracle Max's door. And he opens up the thing, and aren't you Miracle Max, the wizard who worked for the king all those years ago? Yes, until his stinking son fired me. And thank you so much for bringing that up, that painful memory. They do that. He says, "We're closed." They close it, and then they start the knock again. It's like, coming this Friday, The Princess Bride.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest, like one of the main scenes that I remember seeing in the trailers is "Have fun storming the castle."
Exactly. It's weird to think that the movie, just in terms of just the way it was positioned to a theater-going audience, was so bungled. I honestly don't know if it were to come out today, that it would be any different. I really, truly don't.
I don't disagree. I mean,
right. I mean, there's a lot of great fantasy movies out there that don't get half a chance because they are. I mean, this is based on a book, but it is more of an original movie than most. A lot of the YA stuff that's out now doesn't do well at all. I mean, I've heard amazing things about The Kid Who Would Be King, and that movie just failed horrifically.
Oh, yeah, that came and went. I barely remember it came out.
Exactly. But it's that style of movie, and this movie does fall into that. Obviously, you know, with 32 years of hindsight now, we know what a great movie this is. But there are a lot of movies where it just falls into that thing where it's gained this cult-like status. And as we were mentioning off air, I think there were definitely things I would tweak about this movie, but this very well may be a perfect movie.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, where to start? I mean, let me explain. No, it's too much. Let me sum up.
I think that, well, first of all, when was the first time you saw this movie?
I probably saw this movie first time on TV.
Okay.
Probably either 38 or 56. Those were the movie channels back in the day.
Right.
And it was weird. Like I watched, and like probably at the time I was very much in the Fred Savage camp, where I was like, what is this kind of romance? But then it started getting into like the action and the RO. I remember the ROUSs particularly. Those stood out in my mind. I was like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun. And I think the longer I watched the movie, the more I got into it, which is pretty on par for the course, really.
Well, I mean, considering too that, you know, you're essentially in the same footsteps as the kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a name in this movie. He's just the kid.
Yeah, the grandson. Yeah.
the grandson, where you're following along and you find the parts that you don't really like about it. They skip over them so you can move on to the better parts, and then by the end of it, you're loving the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't so much mind the kissing at the end. I saw this one home video. I don't remember if we rented it or if I borrowed like somebody's copy from HBO. It was one of the two. I don't really remember which one it was. But I fully enjoyed the movie the first time I saw it. Now, what was weird for me is that I was familiar with Mandy Patinkin, but I had no idea really who he was. And it's funny that he really just morphs into Inigo Montoya.
Oh yeah, he is in no way a Spaniard.
That's very much not Mandy Patinkin.
Oh yeah.
And now, after an adult's lifetime of Broadway, I'm well familiar with Mandy Patinkin and what he's capable of doing. He's a very fine actor, but it's like this role is so off type for him.
I mean, the interesting thing about this movie, though, is that this could very well be one of the best assembled casts in Hollywood history.
Considering the level of unknowns or like guys that have been around for a while, but they weren't really household names.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest name in this movie, realistically, I mean, you had Peter Falk.
Mm-hmm.
You had Andre the Giant.
And even Andre the Giant, I mean, outside people who followed wrestling, Andre the Giant was pretty much unknown.
Right. But Andre was one of those people that even if you didn't know wrestling and who Andre the Giant was.
Yeah, you had an idea, yeah.
And then Billy Crystal and Carol Kane.
Yeah.
Beyond that, Chris Sarandon was pretty much just this 70s actor. His biggest, he was nominated for an Oscar for Dog Day Afternoon. He was in Fright. He was the head vampire in Fright Night,
right?
The original, 1980s Fright Night.
Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest was essentially part of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I mean, his biggest role was on This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a number of great British actors in here. Mel Smith was the albino.
Yeah. Peter Cook.
Peter Cook was the bishop, the vicar.
What was it? The outstanding bishop or something like that.
Outstanding bishop, yes. And then you had character actors like Wallace Shawn,
mm-hmm.
who very well may steal the entire movie.
I mean, he was
15 minutes of screen time that he has.
He was mostly known for writing My Dinner with Andre. He was a brilliant writer, but I mean,
this really brought him out to just kind of show off the type of comedic actor he could be. And then your leads were complete unknowns. Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright. I mean, I think this was Robin Wright's first movie, and I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, Robin Wright.
Actress, I think.
Yeah, she was.
But prior to that, and I'm fairly certain that Carrie Elwes got his start on the British stage.
Yeah,
this is both their. This may very well be the biggest thing that either of them really ever did. I mean, we've seen them do other stuff. Robin Wright was in Wonder Woman. Robin was in House of Cards.
Yeah, that's what I remember her most from.
Carrie Elwes was in The Crush.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I mainly remember Carrie Elwes from, but.
And this is he didn't write a biography. He wrote about his time on The Princess Bride.
And if you get the chance, listen to the audiobook of that one.
I really should. My wife read this book and she adored it. This is, by the way, her favorite movie, and she's just not able to join us tonight because she's off seeing the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged. This evening. So,
where is that playing? I would have loved to see that one.
It's in Worcester.
Oh, damn! I've seen that before. I love it.
It's available if you want to go see it tomorrow. I can't go see it at all. I had to stay with the kids.
Oh.
So I'm kind of pissed too because it's the director, the guy who directed the show that Autumn and I met on.
Oh, nice!
He's directing this. And our friend Todd is in it. Her friend Derek is in it. So it's this nice little group of people that she knows. that are in it. But that's beside the point because we're not talking about that. We're talking about The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, written by William Goldman, who wrote the original book.
right. Now, did you ever read the book?
I have not, no.
I read it in junior year English class, and oh boy, it's interesting to say the least because you can definitely see where the breaks are that became the grandfather's part in the movie. I do recommend giving it a try. It's not a great book, but it's a fun book.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
And I mean, he wrote the hell out of this movie.
I agree.
This has got some of the best written dialogue, I think, of any movie.
Well, and let's get to that. I think that the dialogue is it's not only it's fun because it does have an air of fictitiousness about it. It's not the way that real people talk.
Right.
But it's a lovely way of introducing two lovers together, and everybody has a story, and everybody's story doesn't take up a lot of time to get to know who everybody is. I mean, I think the longest story, like the longest backstory told, is Inigo's when he tells the Dread Pirate Roberts about the six-fingered man that commissioned the sword, then killed his father.
Yeah.
And that story might take 30 seconds to tell. So everybody's backstories are told in such a way that they can just move on with the movie. And a lot of that, oh god, Vizzini.
Yeah.
Vizzini just pretty much just says that he found Inigo drunk.
Yeah.
Drunk on the streets. And Fezzik was unemployed in Greenland.
I love how just like this tiny little guy is completely berating these two people who could easily kill him.
Oh, the fact that he's berating, Fezzik.
Yeah.
And Fezzik said, "Oh, please don't say that."
I mean, as soon as you're introduced to these three people, and you're introduced to them as they're kidnapping, the heroine of the story. So you're thinking, oh, these are bad guys. But as soon as they get on the boat, they have these interactions where like, I really like these guys. Well, yeah. I mean, Vizzini, not so much, but the other two, I really like them. They're good people.
Right, exactly. And I love that their coping mechanism is to find the rhyming.
Yeah.
If they do, we'll all be dead.
Stop it now, I mean it.
Anyone want a peanut? Ah! And then when he's when Fezzik is climbing the rope, and he's not only got Buttercup, but he's got Inigo and he's got Vizzini on his back.
Yeah.
And he's just doing this. And Vizzini, who is on his back, is berating him the entire time. You were supposed to be this great giant. And he gains.
I mean, I think my favorite character has got to be Inigo Montoya. I mean,
he's just such depth.
I mean, just that scene where he's at the top, he's waiting for the man in black to climb up. He's just like, I don't suppose you can make any faster. He's like, I hate waiting. He's just like he's the whole time he's being so polite, and even when the man in black comes up, he's like, no, please take your time, take a rest.
Yeah.
He knows what he's getting. He knows he's a really good swordsman. He wants to have a fight, but he wants it to be a good fight.
Right, exactly. He can accept nothing less.
Right.
And that's the thing. The first act of this movie is so engaging and really stands out on its own. Especially when they go over the cliffs, when they get up to the cliffs of insanity. And I mean that duel is so well choreographed.
Oh yeah.
And it's just so artful how great it is. And the fact that, they're doing this dueling, and then all of a sudden, the Dread Pirate Roberts asks him why he's smiling. He's like, I know something you do not. I am not left-handed. And he switches the sword and he gets the advantage. And then I'm not left-handed either. And then he switches, and then the advantage goes back to him. But they're complimenting each other during the entire duel. And it's such a fantastic little piece.
And again, I can't recommend the Carrie Elway's book enough. like he talks about this. Like I guess they like, I mean, they had pretty much no fencing skills at all when they started training. So they had like between 6 and 8 months of training. And by the time they finished, they took what should have been a 4-minute fight. They were so good they could do it so fast they got it down to like a minute and a half. And Rob Reiner, he was like watching, he's like, that's great, but we need more. So they had like 2 weeks to add in like an extra minute to the fight.
It is a fantastic fight, and the fact that he just refuses to kill him.
Yeah,
because it essentially would be like destroying a piece of work of art.
Exactly.
And then with Fezzik, the way he just kind of just puts him, ironically, puts him into a sleeper hold to
but even with Fezzik, I mean, he throws a rock, explodes, like, hey, I didn't have to miss. It's like, I just want to do the sportsman, I want to be everything fair. Neither one of them is a bad person. They're just, they're put in a bad situation.
They both have a job to do,
right.
And it's really nice. And it also, I know with Carrie Elways really had nothing but wonderful things to say about Andre. He just said that he was just the most lovely human being in the world.
Oh, everyone on the entire set just had nothing but good things about to say. I mean, like when they were climbing the cliffs of insanity, Wallace Shawn was apparently deathly afraid of heights. And they were just, they weren't all that high, but they were still on a crane being lifted up.
Right.
And apparently Andre the Giant calmed him down by saying, "Don't worry, boss. I've got you. I got you." He was petting him like a little puppy, and apparently it helped.
Yo, that's good. That's good. Because his hands were as big as Wallace Shawn's head.
Yeah.
And then that the Battle of Wits. Oh my God. If there's one scene, if you had to pick one scene that is the only scene from this movie that you watch anytime you discuss this movie, you can't watch the whole movie, but you can watch one scene. Battle of Wits is that scene.
I literally just finished watching it maybe half hour before we did this. That entire scene, I was just laughing and giggling the entire time because Wallace Shawn is just so amazingly funny in that movie.
He's great because his voice is so annoying and so grating, but yet he's this great genius. He's this great, brilliant battle mind.
And the logic it's just like the most nonsensical logic of all time. But also like Wesley's just sort of like, you have dizzying intellect.
Yeah. I love it too, how at the end of the Battle of Wits, it still ends up coming down to some fake out distraction so we can switch the goblet.
And I choose, what in the world could that be?
Well, I don't see anything. Oh, never mind. We'll talk about it later.
You fallen for the classic blunder. The first is never get into a land war in Asia.
But the second is never get in with the Sicilian when death is on the line. Oh, it's just it's so wonderful. And so that style of comedy is such just a part of its own era.
Yes.
You could not remake this movie. And it's mainly because it really is a time capsule to the comedy of the late 80s.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, even so, I think this movie, except for the framing scenes, I think the rest of the movie is very timeless. I mean,
oh no, I'm not saying that it feels dated. I just think that it wouldn't feel fresh. I mean, it's amazing that a 32-year-old movie feels this fresh.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't feel fresh had it come out now.
No. Can you imagine like the CG? What kind of CG they put into this movie?
I'm sure it would be awful.
Yeah.
The whole fire swamp scene is very nice because it's the first time you really get a good idea about Buttercup and Wesley's relationship.
Yeah.
They had the perfect moments, and we all know couples like this that have great perfect moments, and they're very much in love, and then something happens, and now they hate each other.
Mm.
And I do like that with this. They were stuck in a car for 12 hours with a busted radio and no AC, in the form of the fire swamp.
Yeah.
and they still managed to still very much care for each other after that, especially because Wesley had to not only figure out where the exploding
the fire spouts
were, but he also had to find the quicksand and rescuing her from the quicksand, and then the ROUSs.
Right. I do love when they just got into the swamp. He looks around like, oh, this is not too bad, and she just gives him this look like, what the hell are you talking about?
I wouldn't want to build a summer house here, but
the trees are quite nice. Yes. She's just got that look.
Yeah. It really is a lovely movie. And then once you move into your second act, and Wesley is now the one in peril with the machine, Count Rugen's machine.
Wow, that like and like when he after he takes the 1 year off his life, it's like, how do you feel? And Wesley just starts crying. It's like, interesting. Christopher Guest was just there's a very unique form of comedy in this movie that it is so borderline parody and satire, but it doesn't quite drift into that.
Christopher Guest is a very interesting actor because he doesn't overstate when he's acting out things. If you think about some of the characters he's played, especially within the Rob Reiner's field of things, with Nigel Tufnell and Count Rugen, and then in his own stuff, even Corky St. Clair from Waiting for Guffman is very understated. Harlan Pepper from Best in Show, very, very understated. And they're not these big boisterous characters. They are just very low people. They don't get very excited. Sometimes they may raise their voice, but it doesn't go any more than this.
Yeah, I think the most he raises his voice is at the end when he's saying, "Don't stop saying that."
Yes.
To Inigo.
But even still, I wouldn't even call that's not like bombastic or anything. No. So yeah, and I do love the patent arrogance of Prince Humperdinck. I think Chris Sarandon does a very good job with what he is given, which is your stock villain.
Yeah, I mean, he is a villain, but again, he's a very understated villain in a sense. I mean, like when he and Count Rugen are having that series, that little discussion outside the pit of despair, and he's like, I have my wedding, the anniversary to plan, my wedding to plan, my wife to murder, and Gilda to blame for it. I'm swamped.
I'm swamped.
And Count Rugen's, well, get your rest. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. It just, they're both villainous. They're talking about villainous things, but they're very casual. It's very understated
about it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. There's some great stuff with, into the second act with Inigo finding, he needs to find the swordsman. He does it by holding up the sword, and the sword just comically leads him
to
the fake tree, which was fantastic stuff. The stuff with Miracle Max with Billy Crystal. I mean, that is essentially Billy Crystal is playing a character he's played. It's essentially his grandfather.
Yeah.
The question that Billy Crystal did in a stand-up about his grandfather was Miracle Max.
Apparently, the worst injury that Inigo Montoya.
Oh, Man Tinkin.
Apparently, the worst injury he suffered during the filming of this was during that scene, because he was supposed to keep a straight face, and he was he strained a rib holding in the laughter from Billy Crystal's shtick.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's really funny. He's so good in this, and the beauty is that it's not over long. He doesn't overstay his welcome. He's in. He does his scene. He pumps him with a little bit of air. Hello, what have you got to live for?
True love.
Well, I think he said Dublave.
And then Carol King
What?
comes in. And then Carol King comes in, and she gives as good as she takes.
She does. She's great, and essentially she's really playing Laka Gravis's wife from Taxi.
Yeah.
She did it. Carol Kane is one of those actresses that I have to constantly remind myself is an American actress.
Yeah.
Because she keeps just generic foreign accent just on the shelf for every character she plays.
I mean, probably the character I remember her most from is Scrooged, Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah, and she uses that accent in Scrooge. She uses it in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an American actress. So
hey, she's got that accent down pat, so let's let her use it.
And I do love the makeup too. I do love that age makeup. You can still tell it's them.
Yeah.
But it's just this latex just really hanging off of them. The siege at the castle is great. We haven't really talked much about Buttercup, but I love that Robin Wright really does a great job just portraying her her determination that Wesley is going to come and rescue her, even though Humperdinck says he's dead.
Yeah. I mean, Robin Wright is great at just like she's almost like the straight man of this movie.
Right. There's very little. She has, I think, one really funny delivery, and it's still a straight line. It's the you've always been kind to me. I just want to let you know this because I'm going to go into my chambers and kill myself.
And the king's response: "She kissed me."
Yes, isn't that nice? She kissed me. Yeah, no, she's really good, and I have to say that she has never been more beautiful than she is in this movie.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't think there were a possibly more beautiful couple than Carrie Elwes and
oh no, yeah,
Robin
no,
Wright
you're right.
Movie.
You're right, especially because Carrie Elwes got kind of puffy.
Yeah,
later on in his career. But that third act, the castle siege, is great because Wesley can't really do anything.
Oh yeah, the physical comedy
of his limbs. So like Fezzik has to turn his head, he has to just swivel his head around. He doesn't have use of his arms or his legs.
The physical comedy that they pull off in that third act is just brilliant on so many levels.
I do love also when they get to they fool everybody that Fezzik is the Dread Pirate Roberts. And then they finally get to the guy with the key. Give us the key. Hey, I don't have a key. Fezzik tear off his arms. Oh, you mean this key?
I love it when Fezzik consistently like jogs people's memory by knocking them out.
Oh yes, exactly. We need to get through. Everybody move!
Actually, speaking of knocking them out, it's kind of a weird side there. But when Count Rugen knocks Wesley out after they come through the fire swamp,
yes.
Apparently that Christopher Guest didn't really know how to handle that. So, I mean, he did it a few times, but it always looked fake. So, Carrie Elwes was just like, just lightly tap on the head. He did it, and he legitimately knocked Carrie Elwes unconscious. And that was actually the take that they used in the movie. So the scene, if you watch that scene
when his eyes go back in his head, that's
he is literally falling unconscious in that moment.
Yeah. It's just such a beautiful movie. The scene in is still pretty much lifeless. Like he's like dead from the neck down, and he's just laying there. And Buttercup sees him. She's just giving him. He can't move. He can't really. We have to. We have to leave.
Yeah,
we have to leave.
Easy. Not so hard, please.
Yeah. And the to the pain is one of the best speeches in this movie, where he said, "I'm gonna remove your I'm gonna cut off your hands. I'm gonna cut off your feet. I'm gonna cut off your nose, and then my ears. Yes, no, not your ears." Because I want every child that you pass by screaming, "What in the name of God is that?" It's just such great writing. I mean, this really is just such an amazing feat of a movie. Especially because this movie does not really have a gigantic budget. I think this is still a modestly budgeted movie for its time.
Actually, give me 1 second. Yeah, I've got it right up here.
Please pull up the budget.
Budget of $16 million.
16, 16, right?
16, yeah, and
16 in 1986, $87.
Yeah.
So it probably not more than 50 million today.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean,
box office.
I mean, what did Deadpool cost to make?
Deadpool cost 60 million.
60. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, probably the worst effect in this one was the screaming eels, and even that wasn't too bad.
The screaming eels definitely look like paper mache screaming eels.
Yeah.
All right, now if I were to say any flaws in this movie, it's a minor quibble, and it's just that, it's a minor quibble. I enjoy the guitar work that Mark Knopfler does for most of this movie. The storybook story theme that they use throughout the movie is fantastic. Some of the action scenes really come across as 1987 high-power Casio keyboard, though. It's a minor quibble. It really is a minor quibble. It wouldn't fit if these were gigantic orchestral scores.
No.
This isn't something that you'd bring Mark Kamen in and do the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves score. This isn't that.
No, this isn't like John Williams, Danny Elfman type score.
No. I think Mark Knopfler was a very good choice, especially capitalizing on Mark Knopfler's popularity at the time. This was 2 years after Money for Nothing.
Apparently, the only reason he agreed to do it if Rob Reiner would put his interviewing hat from This Is Spinal Tap in the movie, because that was Mark Knopfler's favorite movie. Yeah. So if you look in the bedroom scene with Fred Savage, his little Navy hat is right up there.
Yep. And yeah, that is the only thing that dates this entire movie.
Yeah.
Are the toys in Ted Savage's room and the video game that he's playing in bed.
The Atari game, yeah.
Oh yeah, like MLB 1985 or something. It's pretty funny. Those scenes are actually really sweet too. I mean, we talked about the crux of the story of The Princess Bride, but the interstitials with Peter Falk and Fred Savage, they go from being just these nice little funny scenes, especially with skipping the kissing scenes and him calling the kid out for getting a little worked up about something that happened, he's dead. What kind of crap is that?
Yeah. And when the eels are about to attack Buttercup, he stops like, the eel doesn't actually get him. And Fred Savage is there like clutching his blanket.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried. I was a little concerned.
And at the end, oh my God, the end it always just chokes me up a little bit. Do you want to come back and read it to me again tomorrow?
As you wish.
As you wish. And it's just like,
yeah,
it's such a sweet thing, because that's one thing you don't, and this is coming from, my memories of my grandfathers, that we never really ever said, "I love you." To that, it just wasn't what you did. These Italian guys, you just never said, "I love you." And just watching that is just like, oh, that's really, really sweet.
Yeah, the moment that kind of always chokes me up just a little bit is Inigo's killing line for Count Rugen. I wanted my father back.
Son of a bitch.
Oh.
I love that line actually because the lead up to that is, "I will give you anything. Tell me you'll give me gold, or I'll give you. You tell me you'll give me jewels. Tell me you give me land. I'll give you anything you want. I want my father back. My son, you son of a bitch."
Oh, he says that with such emotion, such like the culmination of a 20-year search.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now he's out of the revenge business. Now he can go and be
the
he'd
Dread
make a
Pirate
very
Rob.
good Dread
Yep.
Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
this
say,
is just such a great movie.
yeah.
I'm glad too. It's one of those movies that you can show younger kids. My daughter has seen this movie. She actually watched it on the airplane going down to Orlando, and she just really adores this movie. Actually, Autumn watched this movie on the flight too. So, and I'm sitting next to her. There's a row in between, there's an aisle in between us, and I'm watching her, and she's just got this big smile on her face. This is just, it's such a fantastic movie. It really is. And I mean, it's held up. Now, have you seen Once Upon a Deadpool? Speaking of Deadpool,
I have not seen Once Upon a Deadpool. No.
Once Upon a Deadpool really does a great job of throwing up these tropes that Wade has kidnapped Fred Savage. He's got him like duct taped to the bed, and he's reading the story of Deadpool, and he stops with a kissing scene in the part. He's like, "Why did you stop?" "Oh, it's a kissing scene." So you think those are gross? I'm a grown man. Kissing scenes are just a symbol of a loving relationship that's perfectly healthy.
Oh yeah, actually, one thing I didn't the first time I noticed this, this is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. There's Christmas decorations in the back. Not that I would ever call this a Christmas movie, but yeah, I know it. It takes place at Christmas. Kids got a cold.
Yep. And there are and there's houses across the street. There are Christmas lights up. He's got a Santa on it up there on his wall.
Yeah, it is. I do love this movie.
Yeah.
So
I would say I do have one minor nitpick.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure that when he says like ROUSs, I don't think they exist. He saw. I mean, he was just like facing down two of them. I don't.
I think he was just trying to just alleviate Buttercup's fear.
I get it. It's just again a very minor nitpick. It's just that one just always kind of like. I mean, you should at least be on your guard. You know they're around. You know they're hunting.
Right. No, I know. It's a
minor
quibble. It's a minor quibble.
Yes.
I mean, if you really wanted to quibble about things, the immortal Peter Cook's marriage thing is completely a 180 from the entire movie, even in terms of comedy. That is such Monty Python humor.
But the build-up is like so great. You got the music swelling. You have everyone there, and then marriage.
It actually gets better as they go. One, whoa, love, get on with it. I really enjoy this movie.
Yes. This is a movie that everyone needs to see. Huh?
Do we leave anything out?
I'm sure we did, but
well, you know what, folks? If we left something out, please leave it in the comments. Did you like this movie? Do you love this movie? Are you one of those outliers that just does not like this movie? I'm sure that there's somebody out there.
I know it's not Catherine.
No, I know it's not Catherine, who could not be here with us. We pretty much had a third host lined up for this one tonight, and things just don't happen. So Catherine will be joining us at some point in the near future for one of these. Not to mention the fact that she and our friend Joe join us every 3 weeks on a little show that we do called Geek Salad. You can get our podcast episodes at geeksalad.podbean.com. Download the app to get all of the episodes, or you can get our most recent 1-year archives on Stitcher, Spotify, or iTunes, or Google Music. You can also get that audio feed right here at YouTube, right on the same channel you're watching our retro movie reviews to. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. give us the video a big like and hit the bell to stay notified because we do these things once a week. The last couple of weeks have been a little off because of my vacation. But thanks again to Julie Murphy, who did last week's Tangled episode. That was a really fun episode.
With just a few minor tangents.
Just a couple of mine. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Otherwise known as the Zachary Levi Memorial episode.
Exactly. You can also follow us on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast and on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio. Mike, do you have anything else you got to say?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. So until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful, and we'll talk to you later.
As you wish.